Space, the final frontier. This is the Observer's Notebook, the official podcast of the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers. Its mission to explore the solar system, to seek out new observations and data, to boldly go where no podcast has gone before. And now the host of the Observer's Notebook, Tim Robertson.
Hello and welcome to episode 166 of the Observer's Notebook, the official podcast of the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers. My name is Tim Robertson and I'm the host of the Observer's Notebook. I also coordinate the training program within the ALPO. Thank you for downloading and listening. The ALPO collects and analyzes observations of various solar system bodies and associated phenomenon, and publishes detailed reports concerning these bodies in its quarterly publication, the Journal of the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers. This podcast depends upon donations from you, our listeners, to keep it alive. If you enjoy what you hear on the Observer's Notebook, you can donate to it via Patreon by starting off as little as $1 a month. If you feel even more generous, for $5, you receive early access to the podcast before it goes public. For a monthly donation of $10, you receive a copy of the Novice Observer's Handbook. And for $35 a month, you receive producer credits on the podcast. You can find out more by going to www.patreon, that's patreon.com/observersnotebook. If you'd like to join the ALPO, membership begins at $22 a year. You can find more at www.alpo-astronomy.org. And you can also find the ALPO on Facebook. Just search for ALPO Astronomy. And this podcast also has a Facebook page as well. Just search for Observer's Notebook. And if you enjoy what you hear in the podcast, please subscribe. That way you'll never miss another episode. And now episode 166 with Ken Poshedly. And we're going to talk about the upcoming ALPO Virtual Conference that everyone listening can attend. Enjoy. All right, I'd like to welcome everybody back to this edition of the Observer's Notebook podcast, and we are here today with Ken Poshedly, the what's your title now with the ALPO?
Publication section coordinator, and I oversee obviously what goes out as far as our ALPO journal is concerned. I work very closely with our editor of the journal, Sean Dillis.
Right, and you're also the future, very soon to be executive director.
All hands on deck.
Oh, that's going to be a fun couple of years. All right. Well, we're here today to talk about the upcoming 2023 ALPO conference. And this is a conference that's held every year through the ALPO. In the past, it's been an in-person conference held at different locations throughout the country. But since the pandemic, we have been doing it online. And the board this year decided to continue that again. And you want to talk a little bit about that, Ken?
Well, as you said, it was really a combination we've developed things. At first, we did it because of COVID-19, but then we saw that our attendance went up markedly because there was no cost. Mm-hmm. You had to go out and buy a computer or something. And, our attendance, well, let's see, the early conferences or conventions, as they used to call them, I assume or have read that there were many, many, many people, I guess approaching 100 people or more. But in the last many years, since I've been in the ALPO since the early 90s, attendance at the conferences, as we now call them, is down into the dozens of people. Mm-hmm. But with the online viewership and some participation, we're back up into, I guess, a couple hundred, and you're the person who follows that yourself. So it was a matter of affordability and convenience and, ease of doing the conference, both as the organization that puts it on and as a member or a viewer who wants to participate that way.
Yeah, and anybody anywhere in the world can can tune into that. We'll talk about how they can do that in a little bit. But this year, the dates of the conference will be Friday and Saturday, July 28th and 29th. That's a Friday and a Saturday. And the times will be Eastern time. It'll start at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Wait, no, that's backwards. Yeah. 10 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Eastern time. That's what it's going to be. And the same time for Saturday.
What did you say?
10 a.m. Pacific time.
Yeah.
And 2 p.m. Eastern time.
So that's one. We're 3 hours, aren't we?
Oh yeah, one. I'm looking at your notes, and your notes are wrong then. All right, never mind. Cut that. Yeah. So it starts at 10 and 1 East, 10 Pacific time, and 1 o'clock Eastern time. That's the start time of the conference on both days. There'll be a break in the middle. We'll have about 7 presentations each day. Like I said, anybody's available to log in and be a part of it. If you want to participate actively, you should be on Zoom, and we'll talk about that. And anybody can view it. We'll also have it simulcast on the ALPO YouTube page. If you'd like to participate by giving a paper, you have to be a member of the ALPO.
Yep.
And what we prefer is a PowerPoint presentation. And if you want to give a presentation, you can contact me ahead of time by my email. That's cometman@cometman.net. And that's the easiest way to do it. So why are the conferences so important, Ken?
Well, you covered a lot there. They're important because, well, in the history of the ALPO, the ALPO itself was founded back in 1947. Walter H. Haas to allow members or amateur astronomers and even beginners to share their findings. Walter himself, who was a mathematician but an amateur astronomer, found that the professional astronomy community was, I don't know if the word averse applies, but they were not really open to accepting data or observations or reports from the amateur community. So he finally decided if that's the way it is, then that's the way it is. And in March of 1947, he founded the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers and started a at that time it was a monthly journal, the Strolling Astronomer. Excuse me. And the purpose was to allow amateurs and beginners to share their findings, to share their observations, and to inspire others who were into this to follow up with their own observations and their own findings. And so, just like many organizations, besides a journal, it was decided to also have an in-person convention, as they used to call it, and that was the beginnings of the first convention. I believe that the first one was sometime in the early or mid 1950s, and they traveled from city to city and so forth and so on. So they serve as a place and time where our membership can present in person what they've been doing as far as solar system astronomy goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the schedule we have for this year, like I said, we have 7 presentations, 7 or 8, depends on how we want to look at it, but usually it's 7 presentations a day. And they vary from basically Matt Will is currently lined up to do a status of the ALPO, talk about our finances and our membership and things like that, where we stand right now. We have Greg Shanos, who's going to talk about a live demonstration on how to image Venus, and then how to modify the images so they actually show some detail. Richard Schmoody is in line for a few presentations, one on Jupiter, one on the remote planets, and another one using J&H filters photometry for Mars during 2022 and 2023. Carls Hergenrother, the executive director and comet section coordinator, is going to give a talk about comet tails and things that have gone on last year in comets. David Teskey is going to talk about some things with the moon. And Roger Venable set up to talk about some observations with Mars. Those are the ones we have set up so far. Like I mentioned, we have 5 more openings for the conference. So if you're interested, please contact me. But you have to be a member of the ALPO. And to join the ALPO is pretty easy. It's only $22 a year for the digital version. And all the information is on the ALPO website to do that.
And let me interject at this time, from what I recall, our membership fee, that $22, entitles you to a 1-year membership, receiving the quarterly journal of the ALPO as a PDF file that you can easily download. It's in full color. The journal is, the page count now exceeds that of Sky and Telescope magazine, which has been advertising in our journal since about 1960. And the journal itself is just chock full of stuff, including you mentioned Greg Shanos. His presentation is going to be very interesting. Plus, he has an article with sort of a step-by-step on how to image Venus with various filters to bring out differences in the clouds of Venus. Most people look at Venus through a scope for a few seconds and say, just a white ball. But following Greg's presentation, you'll be able to see some differences in those clouds.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I was at a local astronomy club meeting about a month ago, and they have a person in the club that's that in charge of observing, and he was talking about planets that are in the sky right now, and he mentioned Venus, and he just glossed over. He goes, "You look at Venus, you don't see anything with Venus. Just you look at it through your telescope, and you're done." And I about jumped out of my chair. I just went, "What? What are you talking about?" But I didn't. It was his thing, but I'm like, I talked to him afterward. I said, we need to have a discussion about looking at Venus.
Yeah.
But as for the paper sessions, I want to just jump that for a minute. For the paper sessions, I'm limiting them to about 25 minutes each, which is a lot of time, but that's going to give us a couple minutes at the end of each one for questions as well. So, and what I'd like to have all the presentations sent to me. Let's see, when? Probably the first week of July would be the best time where I can get them, and that way we can organize them all. And then I send the schedule out to all the presenters, make sure the time slots I've assigned them all are good. So I just want to make sure we get the presentations early. So if you want to do it and you are a member, please go ahead and work on it and let me know you want to present a paper. Also, at the end of day 1, we're going to be holding the board of directors meeting. That's on Friday, the 28th. That'll be at 7 p.m. Pacific time and 8 p.m. Eastern time. There will be a separate Zoom link for that. So if you want to attend that and you are a member of the ALPO, drop me a note and say you want to attend the board of directors meeting as well.
Could you restate the times?
Pardon me?
Could you restate the board meeting times?
Yeah, it's 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Got it.
Yeah. And like I mentioned, that's a separate Zoom link. That is not the one for the normal conference. The day 2 of the conference is, again, a separate Zoom meeting link. That will be sent out the morning of the 29th. So that's what's going to be happening the second day. Following the second day on July 29th, we will have a keynote speaker, which we're still ironing out that. And following the keynote speaker, will we have door prizes, Ken, do you think?
Still working on that.
Okay, we're working on getting door prizes. We've always had them in the past, so we're trying to work that now. And it's also our awards presentation. The Walter Haas Award and the other 2 awards that we give out, not on an annual basis, the Peggy Haas Award and the Michael Reynolds Award. I don't know if we have recipients of those this year, but we will find out.
The Walter Haas Award is given every year to the ALPO, as far as I know, the ALPO member who has demonstrated excellence in observing. The Peggy Haas Award, that's named for Walter's wife, is a service award for an ALPO member who has really worked hard for the benefit of the organization in their own way. And the Mike Reynolds Award is new in that we only started it a few years ago, and it's given to a member or a non-member who has really done their share to popularize or put astronomy in general in the public eye.
Mm-hmm.
And the winner of that award, the only one that we've awarded or presented so far, is Miss Pranvera Hyseni,
Mm-hmm.
who is very well known now. She's originally from, I believe it's Kosovo.
Yes.
She's got her master's and doctoral degree at University of California. Is it San Jose?
Yeah.
Out your way.
Yep.
And it is extremely well deserved.
Yeah,
All of the people are well deserved.
And Scott Roberts won the award last year.
That's right. Scott Roberts won the Mike Reynolds Award last year.
Yes, he did. Yeah. Now, if you're interested in attending, you need a computer, or you can watch on your phone on the YouTube page. But if you want to participate, you need a PC or a Mac, desktop computer. If your computer does not have a webcam, you would need to get one if you want to participate, and a microphone. And what I would recommend is if you do not have Zoom, I don't know how many people post-pandemic do not have Zoom on their computer, but I imagine most people do. But Zoom is a free program. Easiest way to get it is go to their website, https://zoom.us. And it's a free app to download. I highly recommend everybody download it prior to the meeting and turn it on, log in. You'll have to set yourself up a login name and everything, but make sure you have all that. And the only way you can attend is if you send me an email, and I will send you the Zoom link. Otherwise, you can go to the ALPO YouTube channel, and the link for that is in the show notes. All these links will be there again. So if you scroll down to the bottom of the introduction of this podcast, you'll find all the information.
One benefit of actually registering with Tim to view the presentations, even if you do not present yourself, excuse me, is that if you register with Tim to view the event on Zoom, you have the ability during the question and answer sessions after the talks to ask questions, type them in, and do that. Whereas, if I understand correctly, if you're watching via YouTube, you can watch, but you cannot participate with questions. Am I right?
I will have the chat function turned on the YouTube page, but that calls for someone to monitor it. And last year it was me, and I had like 15 balls in the air trying to juggle. So yeah, it can't depend on questions being answered on YouTube, but I make every effort to, at the end of a presentation, zip over to that and take a look to see who's asking questions.
The other thing to mention is if you are a member of the organization and you want to make a presentation, you really do need to get your PowerPoint files to Tim. You learn the hard way. Mm-hmm. And we had some difficult situations in the past where people are not that familiar with PowerPoint and were very inept at advancing from slide to slide, or they had their own problems when they were more concentrated with the data but not how to present it. So the best thing is to get your PowerPoint slides and program to Tim so that the two of you can work out when to go from next to next to next.
Yeah, but what we did last year, I would say 80% of the presenters controlled their own slides last year. Mm-hmm. They knew how to operate PowerPoint. So if you know that and you're familiar with it, that's perfectly fine. But I do like to have a copy of the presentations in case there's some technical glitches on one or the other ends during the conference. So, and I'd like to have those, I'm looking at my dates now, I'd like to have those by Monday, July 3rd. That's the drop-off date. I'd like to have everybody's presentation. And along with the presentation, please submit a brief bio about yourself and a summary of your presentation as well. Like I mentioned, PowerPoint is a preferred method for the presentation.
Yep.
Okay. You got anything else you want to add there, Ken?
Well, as far as joining the organization, so that you can make a presentation, there are two ways. One is the easiest way, I would think, by way of doing it, is email our membership secretary. His name is Matt Will. Excuse me. And you can email him at Matt, M-A-T-T, .will, W-I-L-L, at alpo-astronomy.org. Just email to that address with your name, the type of membership that you want, because we have various kinds. And Matt will get back to you with the pricing and so forth. Like we said, you can join just to get the quarterly journal by PDF. And at the same time, you may want to get the journal via the hard copy. That's more expensive, but there are people who prefer paper copy. Do note that the paper copy is black and white pages with a full color outer cover, whereas the PDF is full color all the way through. You can also go to the ALPO website and hunt around for membership information on our website at alpo-astronomy.org. And we're in the process of redoing the website to make it even easier to navigate. Like I've heard stated on a Beatles song a long time ago, a splendid time is guaranteed for all.
This is true. Yeah, and again, if you cannot attend via Zoom, I also recommend that you go to our YouTube channel, and the link is really long, so I'm just going to suggest you to look at the show notes or Google our YouTube channel. Just put in Association of Lunar Planetary Observers YouTube channel, and that'll take you to it. And subscribe to the channel. And when you do subscribe, there's a little bell. And click on the little bell, and that way you get notified anytime a new video comes up. We also will have live events in the next year that will be on the YouTube channel exclusively.
Yeah.
So
by the way, we talked about people making their own presentations, and they may be confused about, well, what can I offer? What do I have that's so important? Well, here are three ideas. One is, what are the results of maybe a personal or group study that you've done? Maybe especially exactly on a solar system body, of some kind, whether it's a comet, meteors, planets, a moon of one of the planets, whatever it is. If you want to make a presentation of your own research, personal or with a group of other people, or are there any new or ongoing activities involving astronomical instrumentation, construction, or improvement? Have you been involved with building a backyard observatory, or at least your own telescope? I remember, and you do as well, Tim, when building your own scope was the in thing.
Mm-hmm.
But now the prices are down so low, you can get just as much performance from probably a 3-inch refractor as you can from a 6-inch reflector. I don't know. And then another idea is, if you want to do a presentation on what challenges you have faced as an Earth-based observer, changing interest levels, deteriorating observing conditions because of global warming and light pollution. Here in Atlanta, the local Atlanta Astronomy Club had an observing site about a good 10, 15, 20 miles west of the city. And that was established, I think, in 1978. I didn't move here from out of state until 1984, but I remember that the Atlanta Club's observing site was in business since 1978, but it was about 3 or 4 years ago that it had to be dismantled and dissolved because of the light pollution from the metropolis of Atlanta. Now, we do have another observing site, but it is about a good 60 or 70 miles east of Atlanta. And let's face it, the further you go away from town, the darker the skies. but that means it's a far, far longer drive. So there's a trade-off. So you can do a presentation on your own personal activities, or maybe some instrumentation activities that you're doing, or maybe some challenges that you are facing that other people can sympathize with, and possibly offer you suggestions on how to get around those things.
Those are very good suggestions, Ken. I like that. Yeah, and just to reiterate, the dates are Friday and Saturday, July 28th and 29th. It'll also be live streamed on the ALPO YouTube channel. The conference times for both days go from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific time. That's 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time. There's 7 paper sessions each day with short breaks. We'll have about a 25-minute, 30-minute lunch break in the middle of each day. All presentations about 25 minutes in length. The schedule will be posted to all the registrants a few days, or hopefully a week before the event. Hopefully everybody has their stuff into me by then. On the end of the first day, the board of directors meeting will be held at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. That's for ALPO members only. And if you'd like to attend that and you're not a board member, you need to send me an email that you'd like to attend that, and you will get a separate Zoom link for that.
And as a member of the organization, if you will be attending the board meeting, you are also eligible to make suggestions to the board for discussion topics.
Right. But you can't vote.
Pardon?
They cannot vote on.
No, they cannot vote. The board of directors does the voting. And I'd like to say on a personal note, because of the way we do the presentations and the speaking and all that here in the Eastern time zone here in Metro Atlanta, for instance, on Saturday, what I've done in the past couple of years is just get my dinner and put it on the table in front of me as I watch. So it's
I've watched you eat in the past. Yes. Don't do spaghetti this time, okay? It makes too much noise.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'll have a glass of wine. It'll loosen me up. Okay.
There you go. Yeah. And then, as I mentioned, Saturday, at the end of the day, we're going to have our keynote speaker and awards presentation. That's on the 29th, and that'll begin at 4 p.m. Pacific and 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Right.
And for those times, just to let everybody know, the start time for the conference in Universal Time. Let me see here. I got this.
17.
Yeah, 17 Universal Time. That's when the conference is beginning on both days.
Right.
So 1700. So that's that information. You got anything else there, Ken?
No, I do hope to see a lot of you, either your faces or your avatars, on screen.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, and hopefully we have more people in attendance this year than we've had in the past.
Yep.
All right, Ken. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast today.
I'm glad to do it.
All right, man. Well, that'll do it for this episode of the Observer's Notebook Podcast. Again, I want to thank Ken Poshedly for coming on and helping me out discussing the upcoming ALPO convention, July 28th and 29th. I hope all of you can join us there. Please do. We upload new episodes of the Observer's Notebook on the 1st and 15th of every month. You can subscribe to us on iTunes. If you do, I really appreciate it if you give us a rating and a review. You can also listen to us on Apple Radio, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Google Play, Stitcher, Amazon Echo, Spotify, and the podcast is also available on the ALPO YouTube channel. You can help support the podcast by donating to it via Patreon, where you can give up to $35 a month, where you receive 1 year's membership to the ALPO and producer credits on the podcast. And with that, I'd like to thank the producers of this podcast, Steve Siedentop and Michael Moyer, for their continued generous support of the podcast. Thank you very much, gentlemen. For Patreon, as well as the link for the ALPO, is in the show notes. If you'd like to get a hold of me to sign up for the conference or otherwise, my email address is cometman@cometman.net, or you can grab me on Twitter at ObserversNBPod. And until next time, my hope that you always have clear and steady skies. Thanks for listening.